Alrighty, we are live yet again. Day 4, free agency. It's a grind and it's a fun one. We're back with another edition of the Patriots Podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. I am Mike Kadlick, joined by my podcast partner Alex Barth from 98.5 The Sports Hub, and we are here to talk more, like I said, Patriots free agency. This show, as you all know by now, is sponsored by FanDuel now. Massachusetts legalized sports gambling last week, and so everyone, I'm sure, is off and running. With the NCAA tournament starting today. And so go to FanDuel.com/Boston. You help out the show. You can go to FanDuel.com/Boston. You get $200 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet after depositing $10. So it sounds complicated. It's really simple. Deposit $10 at FanDuel.com/Boston. Deposit 10, bet 5, $200, free bets on us. So go for it. FanDuel's here, and it's our new sponsor on the Patriots Podcast. So thank you to FanDuel. Alex, let's get right into it because a report from one Benjamin Albright from out in Denver came out just about, I want to say, little over an hour ago, and that
Yeah,
is
call it
that,
like 2 hours ago.
Sure, 2 hours ago, and that is that the Patriots have interest in one Jeudy. They have been inquiring on Jeudy, and so this came out yesterday that they had been making calls. Then it dialed down after the JuJu Smith-Schuster news came out. But Patriots are back in on Jeudy, according to Albright. And so he also reported that it's looking like Denver's looking for either a first-round pick or a second-round pick and a player in exchange for Jeudy. So that's what it is. That's the report. That's the price. Patriots are in. Do you like it? Is it overlap with JuJu? Can they make it work? And yeah, what are your initial thoughts on the fact that they are apparently still in on Jeudy?
Just when I was out, they pulled me back in, right? I said on the show yesterday, hand up, we're done with Jeudy, blah, blah, blah. They had their slot receiver. So let me start here. I'd be interested to know, he just sort of said these teams have been in. Albright did actually. Let me see. I think I have the exact tweet right here. Yeah. So he says, source confirms multiple teams have called inquiring about wide receiver Jeudy. Price tag remains high, asking for a first or second plus a player. New England, Cleveland, and Dallas, among others, inquiring.
Yep.
What's the timeline on that, right? Is it possible the Patriots were inquiring and then they got JuJu Smith-Schuster and now they're no longer inquiring? Like, I think that's a possibility here.
Sure.
If they really do want to pair the both of them, I think you just take advantage of the positional flexibility or the formational flexibility, the formational versatility, and you move them around. And they cut, JuJu was a 50-50 guy last year, slot and boundary. He was better in the slot.
Sure.
Which is why I thought it made sense for him to be the primary slot guy here. The same could be said about Jeudy. He's played on the outside. He's done it, but he's better in the slot. But I guess if you rotate them, you can create some matchup nightmares and things like that. So that would be my guess, as isn't one defined slot receiver. They alternate. Maybe they do some double slot stuff. O'Brien did that when he was here at his first run, 2009, 2011, with Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola. Yep. So, or it would have been Wes Welker and
Edelman.
Wes Welker and Edelman. Yeah, that's right. The Patriots have done double slot, or they did do double slot with Edelman and Amendola as well. So you can do it.
Right.
But that's my guess. I still think this is maybe a little. I think the timeline's off here. I think they were in. Reporting. Yeah, not delayed reporting necessarily, but Albright goes, "Who have you been talking to?" The Broncos tell them who they've been talking to, but they want as many teams on that list as possible, right? Why are they going to clarify that they haven't talked to the Patriots in the last 24 hours? They talked to them, so that's my guess.
Alex, you're one that's you're kind of bursting the bubble a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I think people are happy about this one.
I just try to be realistic.
Yeah, I feel you. I do. And you're right. That could be the case, but maybe they are still in. So I'll give a little bit of hope here for us, for Patriots fans, right? I love the idea of bringing him in right on top of JuJu Smith-Schuster. Like you said, they're both better in the slot, but neither of them are pure slots. So they can play inside and outside. They've both done Judy's done both in college. He's done both with Denver. And JuJu has done both in Kansas City, and he's done both in Pittsburgh. They're better in the slot. They might be a better mismatch in the slot, but they can play outside. So I don't know what the package would be. It sounds like they want an early second and a player. Pick 46 is not as early as you'd like it to be in the second round,
It's
but
top half.
it's top half of the second round, and so
that's what I read early. Early to me, and this is just a guess, means top 50.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. So look, you send 46 and maybe a Kendrick Bourne. You send 46 and a Josh Uche, 46 and Devontae Parker. I think they'll still want that outside guy, and I don't know if Parker does the trick, but
no, he's redundant with Sutton. They want Bourne if it's going to be a receiver. If they're going to do it, I like the idea of moving Uche better than moving Bourne. Now, I think they'd rather move Bourne because pretty clearly they don't get along with him. And it's annoying that they don't because I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
But to me, like, I still think Kendrick Bourne give you something. Even in an offense that has Jerry Jeudy and JuJu Smith-Schuster, I think Kendrick Bourne gives you a dynamic you don't have in terms of the big playability.
Yeah.
The thing for me with Uche, and if they're going to make any sort of trade, right? Josh Uche is in a contract year. He's coming off a ridiculous second half of the last season that doesn't match up with his first 2.5 years in the NFL.
Right.
I don't think they're going to pay him. Like he's a big time sell high kind of player to me. If they're going to make a move, like that's the guy I would put out there. And frankly, Uche is probably worth a little more than Bourne. Maybe you don't have to give up this year's second round pick. Maybe you can do Uche in next year's second round
pick. At that
pick.
point, you're going to get outbid. Someone's going to give up
Unless they really like Josh Uche.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think it's. I would agree with you that I don't think it's redundant. I think they can clearly make that work. Like you said,
it's not redundant, but I'd rather see them add a boundary guy. I really would.
So at this point, you'd still rather them try. I know the report is they're out on Hopkins, but you'd still rather see them get that across the finish line than Jeudy, even with the age.
It makes so the guy I'm interested in. I have to credit Evan Lazar for this take because he came up with it somehow. I can't believe it because it's a very me take. It's Brandon Cooks.
Really?
What they need a boundary guy, and they need speed.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks, you don't have to give up a ton for him, and he essentially becomes your insurance if Tyquan Thornton doesn't max out. And if Thornton does max out, congratulations, you have a ton of speed on the field.
Right.
Like to me, that's the guy. That would be the guy. Look, I'll take Jeudy if they get him. I'm not going to be mad if they get him, but build a complete offense. Like that should be the priority at this point.
I want a little bit more size at receiver. I mean, yeah, Juju's tall, but he's a tall slot. And so if you go Cooks, who's an outside receiver, he's only 5'10". So, I mean, yeah, he's a burner. He's not going to be your go up and get it guy. He's always been a guy to me, and we saw it when they played in the Super Bowl. I'm not huge on Brandon Cooks. I'm just not. He's obviously solid, and his numbers speak for themselves, but he's kind of got those T-Rex arms. I don't really see him as a guy who's going to, fully lay out. He's going to be on his 5th team in 5-6 years now, right? And so
he's in terms of the short arms thing, he's drawn the 3rd most pass interference penalties of any receiver in football since he entered the league. So
that's
he can go get to the ball. And I maybe it's not like a 50-50 thing, but
sure.
Part of drawing a lot of penalties is making every throw competitive, and he makes every throw competitive.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you hate Max arm strength, hey, he's a guy that knows how to take advantage of underthrown balls. I'm just saying.
Fair.
So I forget. Sorry, you can continue your point.
No, that's fine. I'm DeAndre Hopkins over Brandon Cooks. And
I mean, Hopkins is a better play. I have no clue what Cooks is going to cost.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's Hopkins for a 2nd or Cooks for a 3rd, give me Hopkins.
Yeah, right.
If it's Hopkins for a 2nd and Cooks for a 5th, I'll take Cooks.
Yeah, that's. But I don't know. See, I don't want to play. I mean, okay, you do have to play the value game, but at that point, it's let's just go make our team better. I think trading for Hopkins for a 2nd versus Cooks for a 5th. I'm still doing the Hopkins for a 2nd because it makes your team better. That's what we need right now. So,
and honest, I might probably do that too. They might not look that way. They might not look at us that way. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, remember, you're talking about size.
Yeah.
You got a big slot in JuJu Smith-Schuster. Parker's obviously a big guy. Thorne's not like big, but he's tall.
Yeah.
I think you have decent size. You're not the biggest team in the world, but you have decent size.
That's fair. But again, Patriots in on Jeudy. According to Albright, it could be not a delayed report, but they could have been roped in with the newer report from yesterday. But it sounds like they are in fact inquiring still on him, and so I love the move. I really think that would be huge. Reunite him with Mac Jones. I know they didn't play with each other a lot, but they played enough when Tua got hurt that year with the hip.
Right.
I think Jeudy would be awesome in this system right alongside JuJu Smith-Schuster. So let's talk about the Patriots signings from late last night after we got off the show into today. And we will start with one, if I can find the graphic, James Robinson. I am one who has sat on this show and tweeted about for a long time that you never give a running back a second contract and you just build it through the draft. This is the one time where you give a running back a second contract.
I think this isn't like a real second contract kind of
right.
thing, right?
But in theory, it is a second contract. And so I want to preface it and say that because James Robinson is 24, so he's still young. He doesn't have a ton of tread on the tires because he tore his Achilles 2 years ago, which, I mean, whatever the saying is, 12 here, half a dozen the I don't know how to say it. But he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. He's 24. He was great in Jacksonville as an undrafted free agent. Gets traded to the Jets when Breece Hall goes down last year and basically just gets shoved to the side from Michael Carter. He hasn't played a lot of football, really, and he was really good when he was healthy. Now you bring him in as your second running back. He's also a decent pass catcher, so you bring him in right behind Ramondre Stevenson. 2 years, just $8 million, only $1 million and change guaranteed. I love this signing. This might be my favorite signing for them so far. It's between this and JuJu because the JuJu one is awesome too. And we talked about that last night. We'll get to it further. But this is a great signing to me. I think it's A+ because, again, you can get rid of Harris. Harris would have costed more. Yeah. James Robinson is younger, and he plays a little bit different than him. Yeah, he's still a pure runner. He's not necessarily just a scat back, but I think he has a better pass catching ability than Damian Harris too. So it adds a good 1-2 punch with him and Ramondre.
I credit to you for getting this excited over someone who might not make the team.
Really?
It's a good signing in that, like we've talked about this, they can't have Ramondre Stevenson have a 70% usage rate again this year. And he can contribute in the passing game. He can contribute on early downs. Skill set kind of mirrors Rex Burkhead a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's much younger. He's 24. There is a risk. I mean, running backs, Achilles is the new like big injury that you can't really come back from, right? It was ACLs. Now that's less of a big deal. Torn Achilles, the track record's not great, but I think the idea
he was good last year, even after the Achilles. Before he got traded to the Jets, he was good in Jacksonville. He had a solid first half of the year.
And look, it's 2 years removed, right? And that's kind of what we talk about with these lower body injuries. It's not the first year back playing; it's the year after that guys really get back to form. My read on this is, all right. So you have Ramondre; he's going to be your early down back. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be in that pass catching role to take that off his plate? I still think it should be Pierre Strong. They used a 4th round pick on him last year. He showed some flashes, but I do think you want another option there just in case. And I think it helps to have a veteran in that role. Now that last year, I think was supposed to be Ty Montgomery.
Right.
And then he got hurt. So to me, this is James Rod, who knows what Ty Montgomery is going to be like coming back from that injury. He's been hurt a lot the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I think the idea is between James Robinson and Ty Montgomery, you have one of them is going to work out and be that secondary pass catching back behind Pierre Strong. I've seen some people say they're worried Pierre Strong is going to get buried. I don't think so. I think last year was just, that's what they do. They don't play rookie running backs. They've never really done it. Ramondre is the exception. So yeah, when I look at it, James Robinson's here to compete with Ty Montgomery for that last running back spot. And you can never have too much running back depth. Realistically, you need like 5 running backs to get through a season. Last year after the draft, everybody's bitching and moaning that they took 2 running backs in the draft. And what are they doing? Why are they investing so much in running backs? Well, they need other positions. Right. And then we got to the end of the season and they had no running backs. You realistically need 5 to get through a season. Now, one guy maybe can be on the practice squad or you're signing guys during the year, but Ramondre's your main early down guy, your workhorse.
Yep.
You have Kevin Harris backing him up in that role as your goal line back. Pierre Strong is your pass catching back. And then it's James Robinson or Ty Montgomery as that do it all behind them. That's 4 or 5 if Montgomery and Robinson both make the team. They have J.J. Taylor in there as well. I think that ship has probably sailed at this point, but he is technically under contract. Between that group, you're going to get through the season. And I still wouldn't hate seeing them add somebody else, maybe if they want to go like late in the draft or with the UDFA. But to me, this is, I still think there was a role for Ty Montgomery on this team, but he's struggled to stay healthy. Not that Robinson's been the picture of health either, but the idea is between the two of them, you're going to have somebody to fill that role.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm clearly a little bit more optimistic than you on it because I just think that at the end of the day, he's 24, where Ty Montgomery is closer to 30. And younger running backs are almost always better. Younger, almost always better than older, right? And you have less tread. Already talked about that, but I don't know. I think there's too much upside in this contract. I mean, James Robinson was really damn good in Jacksonville. Like, I know I just said this, but I don't think. Like, I think he's better. He's a better running back than Pierre Strong. I know we haven't seen much of Pierre Strong. Maybe Strong's ceiling is higher, but is it really that much higher? Like, what we saw from him last year was okay. He had one solid game. I think he scored a touchdown against Arizona. But I don't know, if he doesn't like overly impress during camp, I can see them just going with James Robinson, much like they were going to go with Ty Montgomery. Over a guy like Pierre Strong last year.
And maybe he wins that job, right? I mean, we'll see. I think that's kind of the point here. That's kind of the question here, right? Is this just another player to compete for that role? I think it should be Strong. I'm going to be disappointed, frankly, if it's not Strong after they drafted him so high and there were other guys like Isaiah Pacheco they left on the board, but it's another guy to compete for that role.
Yeah. A little bit of breaking NFL news. Not really Patriots related, but Darius Slay is officially signing back with the Eagles.
Didn't we know that?
It's now official. It has been signed. The Eagles are keeping Slay for a 2-year extension through 2025. So he's officially off the board for the Patriots. Not that he wasn't already once it kind of came out that he was going to go back there, but now it is official. So Slay is off the board. Let's talk more signings today.
Oh, and the Saints have signed one of the best names in the league.
Okay.
Storm Norton, tackle.
Storm Norton. Look at that. Okay.
Storm Norton is a great name.
Good for them. Let's talk the rest of the Patriots signings, which, by the way, if you want to check out below, the Patriots are basically long shots to win the AFC East, according to FanDuel Sportsbook at plus 700. You can go get those bets in at FanDuel.com/Boston if you think the Patriots are going to win it all. But other signings, Mack Wilson re-signs with the team today. 1 year, $2.2 million. A guy who, special teamer, also played linebacker a lot. I think Mike Reese tweeted that he played like 30-something% of their snaps at linebacker this year. So sort of that quicker model of linebacker that you kind of seen them go towards this year, right? So he comes back on a 1-year deal. What do you make of it? Is it that important? Can they do better at linebacker? Or are they just going to kind of re-sign their guys at defense and run it back with the defense they had last year? Because that's kind of what direction they're going in.
Well, is Mack Wilson part of the defense or is he a special teamer, right? He didn't play on defense the last 5 years. This is one of those ones where I'm going to sit here and just kid myself and say, well, I really love his skill set, man. I just hope they can figure out how to use him right.
Yeah,
second year in the system. And let's be honest, it's not going to happen. He's going to be a special teamer again. And they need special teamers, so that's all well and good, but they need an athletic linebacker. I think they want one. They just haven't come to terms with kind of, it's a flip. It's not all positives when you have an athletic linebacker. There's some things those guys don't give you, and Mack Wilson's a very aggressive player, and I don't think that they're like in the mindset for that. But you kind of have to take it with a guy who plays like that. So I'd like to think second year in the system, Mack Wilson becomes a much bigger part of the defense. I thought he played well when he was in last year.
Agreed.
But he's probably just going to be in a rotational role again. It's not a bad signing, but it's one of those ones that kills me because it's a usage thing, right? It's like they could use him differently. It just seems like they don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. But I like the signing overall. He's also in on the recruiting tour on Twitter today.
Yeah, he is.
As he tweeted today at both DeAndre Hopkins and Jerry Jeudy. He asked Hopkins what he was doing, and then he tweeted at Jeudy and said, "You'll look good in Patriots red Blue, red, and white. He didn't go red, white, and blue. He wrote blue, red,
Well,
and
because
white.
blue's the Patriots' primary color.
Yeah, I guess, but it kind of just rolls off the tongue with red, white, and blue. If you were to say the Patriots colors, tell me what the Patriots colors are.
Blue, red, and white.
No, you're lying.
No, I absolutely would.
You would say red, white, and blue.
Nah, I wouldn't, unless they're wearing the throwbacks.
I just don't believe that.
Their main color is blue.
I agree with you. I know it is.
What year is it?
Of course their main color is blue. I'm not arguing that. But if someone was walking down the street and said, hey, what color do the Patriots wear? What colors do they wear? You would naturally say red, white, and blue.
Well, I just say blue because they wear those horrible blueberry uniforms. But
I kind of like those. Blue, red, and white.
I don't know.
No. I don't buy this. Chat's weighing in now. No. You say red, white, and blue. It rolls off the tongue. Anyway, the other signing we can talk about that another re-signing today was Joe Cardona, 4-year deal. I believe $1 million guaranteed. So a long deal for Joe Cardona. The Patriots have their long snapper once again for probably the next 4 years, as long as everything goes okay. But what do you think of Cardona coming back? You're a big special teams guy.
I mean, good signing. We know he can play the position well. He never missed a game, played 127 games in a row until last year. That's at any position in the NFL. That's impressive. Yeah, the 4 years definitely stands out. It'll be interesting to see the money. He got a $1 million signing bonus. So that's all we know so far. And shout out to Jason McCourty, by the way, for breaking it.
Right.
I didn't love the idea coming in of potentially having a new kicker, punter, and long snapper all at once. Mm-hmm. That's a group where chemistry is huge. And 3 new guys, I feel like, is asking a lot. So
I agree.
They still might have a new kicker and punter, and that's a lot of new players to work with, but there's at least one player in that group that's been here. So for that, I like it. I was kind of starting to wonder if they were going to stick with Tucker Addington, just some of the other long snapper contracts, right? But it's not, again, I like that they brought him back because you were going to overturn that whole operation if you didn't, probably. And right. I'd rather they not do that.
Oh, not only would you overturn the whole operation with personnel, but you might end up overturning the operation with a coach as well. Cam McCord is still here. Joe Houston is still here. But depending on who the coordinator is, there's the assistant coordinator and who's coaching positions or scheme, that whole thing would completely change over. And so good thing, like you said, at least you have some consistency back with Joe Cardona. So that's who the Patriots re-signed or officially have signed: James Robinson, Mack Wilson, Joe Cardona. Before we move on to the Patriots visits from today.
We got a little bit of news here. Okay, if we're going to do the visits, we can get to it in a second. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let's do it. I'm going to quickly talk about FanDuel, Alex, because Massachusetts, the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in Massachusetts. New customers in Mass can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you have to do is sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. You can bet on all your favorite sports from money line, point spreads, player props, and more. FanDuel Sportsbook app is super easy. It's nice and bright, better than all the other apps. You can go in now. You can place a super boost in a new state, and you can bet there to be over 1 point scored. 1 point you need in Iona versus UConn tomorrow. You get $50 in free money, not even bonus bets. You wager 50, you win 50, real money. So you can do that after you go to FanDuel.com/Boston. Deposit 10, place 5. So bet on an app. Like I said, it's safe, super easy, and secure. And don't miss out, like I said, on your chance to get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/Boston and make every moment more on America's #1 sportsbook. 21 plus and present in Mass. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, hope is here. Gambling helpline ma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. So let's talk about it, Alex. Again, the Patriots had some visits today. You wanted to start with something? Is there a new visit reported?
Sort of.
Okay.
So Taylor Rapp is going to visit with the Bengals tomorrow. So he visited with the Patriots today, left without a contract. He's going to visit the Bengals tomorrow.
Interesting. Okay, so that's here in front of us. Patriots hosted. This was used earlier today. Patriots are hosting, but they hosted safety Taylor Rapp on a visit. Rapp started 17 games for the Rams 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. Was one of their better players over the last several years. He's a quality safety. Better
Good
players
player, yeah.
might be a stretch. You got guys like Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald there, but
Well, so the way I've put it with Rapp is there was that top tier of safeties that we hoped the Patriots would get in on, right? And that was Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Jordan Poyer, Juan Thornhill. To me, Rapp is like the top of that next group. I wouldn't quite put him in that top class, but I think he's the best of that next group. He's got experience playing on the back end, over 500 snaps at free safety each of the last 2 years. Instinctive player, which they love. Good tackler, which is important back there. I'm bummed seeing that he left the building without a contract. I think he makes a ton of sense for them right now.
I agree. The instincts at safety is like the main thing I look at when you watch a film on a guy. Like there are guys who can just kind of lollygag back there sometimes. Taylor Rapp is not one of those people. Like you said, he's got the instincts. Play free back there, right? Like I said, started 17 games for the Rams, 330 tackles over the last 4 years, 9 interceptions over the last 4 years, and so. Like you said, I'm with you. I'm kind of bummed that they couldn't get a deal done. The same thing happened with Andrew Van Ginkel, which we'll talk about too. But if they can compete on the money with, you said Cincinnati he's going to tomorrow?
Yeah.
Who just lost Jesse Bates too, so they'll be willing to pay for him. Okay, so that's interesting.
So, yeah.
Two teams that are definitely in the market for a safety. So, but overall, I like the fit if they can get it across the finish line because Rapp's a solid player. Would help out that safety run that they're kind of now piecing together with McCourty gone, with Peppers back, Duggar and Adrian Phillips. So would be a solid addition to the room. We'll see if they can finish that off. Some more, Andrew Van Ginkel, Alex, a linebacker from the Miami Dolphins. He also visited. Thoughts on him? What do you see his fit? I mean, I know they did the Mac Wilson deal today, and so he's different than Wilson. Obviously, he's bigger. I think he's like 6'4", so he's a bigger dude. Also a quality special teamer. He's been with Miami for the last couple of years. You've seen him, I'm sure, watching Miami Dolphins games against the Patriots, and so the Patriots had Andrew Van Ginkel in for a visit today.
Well, see, this is what kills me with Van Ginkel, right? And I kind of just talked about it with Wilson.
Yep.
They signed these athletic linebackers, and it's like, finally, they're going to add athleticism on defense, and the guys play, and they play well for the first couple of weeks, but then, because they're all aggressive players, they miss a play or something, and then by the end of the season, they're only playing in the kicking game.
Yeah.
I'd love to say Van Ginkel would be a great add, and he'd add athleticism to their defense, and he'd give them, but I just know by the end of the year, he's just going to be covering kicks. And look, they need somebody to cover kicks, so it wouldn't necessarily make him a terrible signing if they don't pay him that much, but he reminds me of Chase Winovich a lot.
Yeah. Is it just because of the long blonde hair?
No, I mean, yes and no. No, yeah. He's a very aggressive rusher. He's a very aggressive rusher, and that doesn't always work here.
Yeah, that's fair. I honestly, I don't have too much on Van Ginkel. I think it would be a fine signing. He's sort of hit or miss for me. I don't have much of really an opinion, although I think that at the end of the day, they could use more depth at the position. But instead of just building depth at the position, like they've done at tackle and safety now, if they obviously get, Rapp done. But I kind of want a bigger splash. And that's what's going to happen with a guy like Jeudy, we hope. Look, they've made some solid signings, but I want some more, which is why the next signing I'm going to mention, BC Johnson, or not signing, I'm sorry, it's not a signing. The next visit I'm going to mention, BC Johnson from the Vikings. Pretty disappointing to me. I'm not going to lie. BC Johnson, a wide receiver from the Vikings, was on a visit with the Patriots today. BC Johnson has not played football since 2020. His career year with Minnesota was in 2019. He caught 3 touchdowns. And he's missed the last 2 seasons with 2 separate ACL tears, both in the preseason. And so tears one, misses the year, comes back, rehabs, tears another one, misses last year as well. I liked BC Johnson about 2 years ago. And yeah, he's young. I think he's only 24 years old as well.
And let's not forget, he was ahead of Justin Jefferson on that depth chart for all.
I saw that
weeks.
from Chad Graff, the Athletic, who used to cover the Vikings. I saw that on Twitter today. Hey, maybe he was better than Justin Jefferson at one point. He's not anymore. And so 6 foot, 210 pounds. He's pretty fast. He ran a solid 40. I don't remember the time exactly, but that came up on the timeline today. I just think if you're gonna, and I texted you this earlier today, if you're gonna go sign a free agent wide receiver that's torn their ACL twice, just make it Odell Beckham Jr.
Well,
Pay the
I
money
mean,
for Odell.
the difference is Johnson's going to cost you, a hundredth of what Odell Beckham's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. If they sign him in May to be in OTAs and you see what he looks like, fine. It's a decent third receiver before he had the 2 knee injuries, but
Right.
it's like we talked about with Philip Dorsett. Why is this kind of signing the priority right now? It doesn't make a lot of sense because it's a guy that you can't count on.
Right.
And it's nothing against Johnson, but like when you have back-to-back ACL tears, you're trying to win games here. You want guys who are going to be on the field, and he struggled to do that. And you don't know what kind of shape his knees are in. And by the way, it's not, he didn't tear the same one twice. He tore each knee back-to-back summers. So they're both now reconstructed. You want to sign him for like, $850,000, go for it. I'm not opposed to that. And every team makes that kind of signing. But that's normally after the draft. I can't imagine the market on this guy is very big, very
right.
So sign him, I guess, go for it. But he doesn't add it. He had like there's nothing, doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
you can't body.
I know it irks me. Go bring Odell Beckham Jr. in for a visit. And I know I just said this, and I know that's going to cost you much more. Like it came out today. Diana Rossini said he's seeking, upwards of $15-20 million for a contract. Make the splash. You have the money still, and you need a guy, and we talked about it last night on the show, you need a guy that's going to dictate coverage and complement, Odell Beckham Jr.'s skill set. We want to talk about bringing in another receiver. His skill set probably complements JuJu more than a guy like Jeudy does. Odell can kind of play both. He plays outside and inside as well.
He's going to play on the boundary. You're signing him as playing on the boundary.
Right. And so go get Odell. BC Johnson, he was fun for a few years in Minnesota. I agree. But why is this signing, why is this visit happening on March 16th, the second day after free agency opens? That's the part that irks me a little bit. Go find and outbid and negotiate with the bigger names, the bigger guys who are going to be in negotiations and discussions with other teams now, and then worry about the trickle down later. You're not winning anything by signing BC Johnson on March 16th. You're just not. Again, good player. I don't mean to trash all over BC Johnson, but I mean, who's BC Johnson? I don't know. It kind of I don't know. It irks me, right? It irks me compared to it's like what they did with Dorsett the other day. You're totally right. You're going to say something?
Yeah. No, I was going to just go back to the Dorsett thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. But another interesting visit was Trey Flowers. Trey Flowers, linebacker, played for the Patriots, played for the Lions, played for the Dolphins. He took a visit here today as well. You probably know Trey Flowers, everyone who's listening. Played edge / linebacker role here for the Patriots. He came on a visit today to New England. The bigger, I guess, under the radar play from Trey Flowers in his career was the sack on Matt Ryan in Super Bowl 51. In the fourth quarter of that game, he was one of the main, him and Hightower really got the pressure on Matt Ryan all day in that game. And so Trey Flowers, big part of Dynasty 2.0, came on a visit today. What do you make of it, Alex?
I've kind of been wanting them to add him for a couple of years
Me
now.
too.
And I think injuries have been a part of the reason maybe they haven't. I like the idea of just getting that strong edge setter opposite Matthew Judon, who's going to contain that half of the pocket and force runners to go back, whether it's on a running play or a scrambling quarterback.
Yep.
Force runners to go back towards Matthew Judon. And Dietrich Wise does that, but it's sort of like Ramondre Stevenson. He played a lot early last year, and I think it got to him late in the season. So having another stout edge defender on that strong side, I like that idea. And if Trey Flowers can stay healthy, he can be that guy. Now, he's played just 18 games in the last 3 years. Wouldn't give him a ton of guaranteed money, but there's a role for him on this team. There's certainly a role for him on this team if they bring him in.
Yeah, I would agree. A guy who I believe, and I want to double check this so I have my facts correct, but
Oh, did we lose Mike? I don't know what he was going to say. But, yeah, I mean, I'd take him back on like a prove-it deal, a team-friendly, incentive-heavy deal. I think that's the way to go at this point. All right, Mike, are you back?
Yeah, I froze up.
Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I thought Trey Flowers was a little bit younger than 29. But still a guy who
I was surprised he wasn't over 30 yet.
Oh, okay, interesting. I thought he had less. I keep using tread on the tires today, but I think he can add to this team overall. It's not a bad signing because he's not going to command a lot of money, so I'm okay with it because he's been here before as well. And the last visit, and admittedly, I know he's a quality special teamer, but I'm going to let you rave about Chris Board because I'm sure that you love Chris Board, just like Bill Belichick loves Chris Board, a guy who, when they've played Detroit in the past, it's Detroit, right?
So he was on the Ravens for 4 years. When he's with Detroit last year, Bill said he's the best special teamer they'd play all year. And then I think he didn't play in that game. I think he ended up getting hurt, if memory serves me correctly. But I think
you're right.
It's kind of like, they need those coverage guys. They need to rework that unit. Obviously, we all know they need to get better on special teams. He's a guy that'll give them that. And he's not purely a special teamer. He can pitch in some snaps on defense as well. Think like a defensive version like Brandon Bolden, right?
Right.
So they like him. I'd be surprised if he left without a contract. We'll wait and see what happened there. But I think he's going to be a Patriot. And again, there's a role for him. Not a flashy signing, but there's a role for him.
Yeah. All right, so let's do that's it for Patriots news so far today. Hopefully we get something a little bit later on. They're in on Jerry Jeudy, as you've seen already, or inquiring. Could be from yesterday too, but that's the report today.
So there was one other piece of news we got late last night that we can talk about, and that's the details on Riley Reif's contract.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Riley Reif is getting a 1-year, $5 million contract from the Patriots.
Yep.
And this is kind of where we get to that thing like last night. Everybody saw James Robinson got $8 million and they freaked out. No, he's getting like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Riley Reif's guaranteed money is $4.15 million. It's going to have a significant cap hit. If they cut him, they free up less than $1 million. It's like 800,000 something.
Right.
He's a roster lock. He's making this team. They have a plan for him. On top of that,
there you go.
At $5 million, he'd be as things stand now, and there's some more guys that need to sign contracts. He'd be the 15th highest paid right tackle in football. That's a starting contract.
Yep.
So right now, he's the starting right tackle. I think some people looked at it. Oh, he's a veteran. Will he make it out of camp? Yada, yada, yada. Well, they're planning on him making it out of camp.
Right.
Playing. Now, I don't think he's a lock in that position.
Okay.
But what this screams of, Mike, is you have a veteran who's like high floor, really low ceiling, but you have a guy who's there who can do it. Maybe not do it well, but do it. And then you go and draft somebody.
Okay.
And that way, if that kid needs about a month into the season, he has it. DeJuan Jones, now very much on the table at 14. Okay. Because it would make a ton of sense to put Trent on the left side, have Riley Reif to start as your right tackle, and then DeJuan Jones when he's ready, whether it's week 1, whether it's week 5. The other thing I wonder is, what does this mean for Connor McDermott? Because to me, Connor McDermott might be a better player than Riley Reif, right?
I'm going to push back on that.
At this point in his career.
I don't know about that. That's a stretch.
So we'll see in camp, but Riley Reif's going to make the team.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine they feel good about him as the starting right tackle. So I think right tackle is totally in play now in the draft at 14 or 46.
Okay.
So that would be called DeJuan Jones at 14 or a trade back, and Darnell Wright at 46 or a trade up.
All right. So I want to ask you about DeJuan Jones then, because everything I see and every sort of mock draft that comes up, I know it's Pro Football Focus, so you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt because you don't know how the algorithm on the back end works, but he's always available at 46, DeJuan Jones. He's going to be a first-round pick, right?
So, top 40. There's maybe a way he falls out of the first round. I'll tell you this. The website I use, right, that they compile hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mock drafts.
Yep.
His average draft spot is 36.
Okay.
So that's probably about right. He's a fringe first-round pick, I think, because he's right. So maybe at 14 is a little strong. Now, given the way the Patriots have historically drafted, if they like him, they'll take him at 14.
Right.
But he's not going to be there at 46. Like, I would be very surprised if he's there at 46.
Okay. Is it a reach at 14?
Yeah,
but we're going to trade back.
We're going to look. They probably could, but we'd look back and laugh at people complaining about it. It would kind of be like, remember when they took Devin McCourty over Dez Bryant? Everybody freaked out because they needed a wide receiver. Yeah, it was a good move to take Devin McCourty over Dez Bryant. Not Dez Bryant's a bad player, but like, I'm in the firm belief that if you think a guy can play, you take him.
Is DeJuan Jones your favorite player in this draft?
Yeah.
Interesting. You were saying? Sorry.
No, me and Evan had a moment today because, like, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba is now probably out because they have JuJu playing the slot.
Right.
So his favorite player's out, and my favorite player, who's been out this whole time because we thought they were going to sign a right tackle in free agency, DeJuan Jones, is now very much in.
It shocks me that Evan's favorite player in the draft is Jackson Smith and Jigba.
No, it doesn't.
Because he's fun.
But he loves Ohio State. It doesn't. Haven't worked enough drafts with him. I saw that one coming a mile away.
Yeah, all right, fine. Fair enough. The Patriots are slowly but surely making some moves. We got some time left here on the show, so as we continue to talk about the rest of the league, you guys can also throw in some questions in the chat if you guys have anything you want us to talk about as we wrap this thing up with the Patriots in free agency. But there was a reunion of sorts in Las Vegas. Patriots West today, Alex. Jacoby Myers was there. Philip Dorsett was there. Jimmy Garoppolo was also in the building. His trade
until he pulled something.
Yeah, I was going to say he was walking up and might have pulled a hammy or something. So maybe failed the physical. But Patriots West is alive and well in Las Vegas. Josh was there. Jacoby was on stage, answered questions. Class act Jacoby, as he always is. I'm going to miss that.
The best guy.
Awesome.
Yeah. He handled that. So what'd you learn about that play? Oh, I learned how important it is to pick up your teammates. Oh, what a perfect answer. Yeah. I'll tell you this. Whenever Jacoby's done playing, if he wants to coach, he's going to be great at it.
Yeah.
Mind of a quarterback. He's got that kind of mentality. Like, I'll find a spot for him. I'll find a spot for him on my coaching staff anytime, anywhere, anyway.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was interesting in his answer was he did not say the word Patriots. He would not say Patriots. He said the team that I used to play for. He refused to say, and it sounded very intentional.
Was that really the whole presser, or was that?
I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing.
So that reminds me of the first couple shows after Evan left. I kept referring to him as the former host of this podcast, and I was doing it as a joke just because I thought it was funny. And I texted him I was doing it, and he thought it was funny. But people thought I was serious. They were like, "Wow, I can't believe how bitter he is." That's interesting that he did that. You know, he's probably got a fire lit under him. The way that whole thing played out, the way those 24 hours played out, he's probably got a fire lit under his ass. I don't blame him at all.
Yeah. All right. I do want to start with questions, and we'll talk about this. And if you guys saw my tweet last night, Mike Gesicki. So apparently, Mike Gesicki just started following the Patriots on Twitter, and Mac Jones started following Mike Gesicki on Instagram. I tweeted it out. People caught wind of it. And then Mac Jones ends up trolling me on Instagram, so it looked, and started following DeAndre Hopkins and James Robinson and Odell Beckham. And so clearly now they're just messing with all of us. It looks like Mac Wilson was doing the same today when he was tweeting at Odell and D-Hop. But be as it may, before Mac caught wind of this, he started following Mike Gesicki. So I don't want to talk about the drama because I know you're not into that kind of stuff like I am. But Mike Gesicki's fit on this team would be interesting. I think, him and Hunter Henry could be a tad redundant, but Gesicki, I feel like they would still pair well together, him and Hunter Henry. What do you say?
I wonder how they'd use Gesicki, because in the past, Bill's referred to him as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I don't think he meant that as a slight. I think that's just how he views certain tight ends. He's done the same thing with Travis Kelce. I wonder if they would turn Mike Gesicki into an X receiver. And that's interesting to me. Yeah. Not interesting enough for what they would have to pay him.
Right.
But it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
We'll do this one for people who join late. 1 to 10, how confident the Patriots getting Jeudy? Like a half.
You're not, huh? You think
You
that
keep
was looped
hearing the
in from
same
yesterday?
teams. You keep hearing the same teams, the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and it's the same teams that are in on Beckham. Whoever misses on Beckham is going to get Jeudy. I think that's just what it is. I think there's probably some chicken going on between those two sides right now. Neither one wants to move first, whether that's Odell Beckham or whether it's the Broncos, but because whichever one moves second is going to get more.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Patriots ultimately end up in it. I think they're past needing a slot receiver, and we can do this too. Where'd it go? Nope, not that one. Here we go. Chances on D-Hop, I'd put this higher. I'd put this at like a 4 or 5.
Okay.
Because
you still think that they're going to be more in on D-Hop.
It makes more sense now. It just makes a lot more sense. So that's
yeah. I guess because he is a true outside, but he's just older, and so I mean, I guess Juju's only 26, so I guess that doesn't really work. But I still like the upside with Judy's age. I do. Because he can play outside too, and so can Juju, and they can mix and match them. Just like Bill O'Brien is the matchup king, and he wants to, wants to match you up against the guys who he wants to go beat. And so having guys who can play everywhere and not guys who are like Devontae Parker, who no matter what, no matter where, he's your X, he's your X, he's your X, he's your X. When you have other guys, I mean, it's good and bad, I guess, but I would rather guys with some versatility. So I still like Jeudy over D-Hop. Now we're flipped here. I think about a month ago you wanted Jeudy and I wanted D-Hop, and now we're very much switched. So
we talked each other into it. This is actually a good question. I don't know that we've ever discussed this on the show. Why is there always, I don't know if that's a typo or for emphasis, why is there always a team getting Patriots players trying to emulate the success? This isn't just a Patriots thing. This happens around the league with all different teams. This happens around the league with all different teams. Look at the teams, right, that are adding all these Patriots players. The Houston Texans, who's in charge there? Nick Caserio.
Yep.
The Raiders, who is it there? Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler. Guys who have worked for the Patriots, guys who have experience with these players. General managers, coaches, they like players they are familiar with, players they know. And it's also, if you want to build a culture, right? If you like the culture you had in New England and you want to bring that elsewhere, you bring in players who helped you build that culture and are also familiar with it so they can kind of establish it in the new locker. Now, on the culture point, sometimes some coaches, Matt Patricia, take that too far, and that doesn't work. But this is not just a page. Like I'm trying to think. Okay, here's a great one: the Eagles, right, or the Colts. The Colts had a bunch of Eagles staffers the last couple of years, and they still do, really. And you saw all of these former Philly players, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, chief among them, go to Indy. Why was that? Because the coaching staff was familiar with them. So it's not like a unique.
It just happened today. It just happened today with the Colts. The Colts hire Shane Steichen, and they just signed Gardner Minshew. So
right, exactly, perfect example. So like, we're probably more attuned to it with the Patriots just because we know more of the play. We know the players more, so we know all the depth players and everything, and we see it, and that's what we talk about because we're looking at where are former Patriots going. But this is not an uncommon thing. I'll add this one too. 2001 Patriots, a lot of players from the Jets. Brian Cox came with Bill Belichick from the Jets. And then you had that whole thing with Josh McDaniels when he was with the Rams in 2010. And then like half of the 2010 Rams offense eventually made their way to the Patriots. It was over a span of years, but this is kind of what happens. We're doing this with Bill O'Brien, right? Is Bill O'Brien Dolphins with McDaniel, right?
Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. just signed the last 2 days. So
another great example. We go on and on with these, and we're kind of seeing it now with Bill O'Brien. That's why so many people liked the Mike Gesicki thing last night, because who recruited Mike Gesicki to Penn State? Bill O'Brien.
Yep.
Coaches, GMs, decision makers, they like familiarity. They like guys they know. They like guys they're familiar with. They like guys they're comfortable with. So this happens all the time across the league. We just see it more outgoing because there's really been a new coach in New England to bring his old guys with them in about 2 decades. We kind of got it with Josh a little bit. Maybe we get it with Bill O'Brien here a little bit, but it happens a lot. It's pretty common.
Yep.
It's a good question, though. We've never talked about that. It's just sort of this thing that exists.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So Brian Hoyer was officially released by the Patriots today. Essentially their third quarterback once he was injured and Zappe came in and impressed. Didn't really play the rest of the season, wasn't active or anything like that. What do you think about a third quarterback, Alex? I personally, they're going to go probably into the season with just 2, with Mac and Zappe. But as far as a camp arm, a third guy, I wonder if they go back to Garrett Gilbert, who was here last year, because he's a guy who understands the system. He's been here, off and on for the last couple of years. And maybe just roll with those 3. But then there's also other options, whether they go 7th rounder in the draft, whether they go undrafted free agent. But the guy that comes up in my head is now Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but he's probably going to end up getting drafted. I think he's done himself a solid at the Shrine Bowl and then at the Combine to where maybe I don't think he's going to go undrafted, and I don't know how early the Patriots are going to go up and get a guy because you have Mac and Zappe who you're comfortable with. But what do you think about the third quarterback option?
So they're probably they like having 4 in camp. Bill said that. And I think Garrett Gilbert makes a ton of sense as one, but they don't need to sign him until May. Right. Yeah. They like DTR,
it'll come out.
I think.
It'll come out that they had a meeting with Garrett Gilbert today.
Gilbert tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think they like DTR. There's a lot to like about DTR. His throwing motion was very much improved at the Shrine Bowl and then at the Combine as well. So yeah, late day 3 quarterback. I'll give you one other name because it's a fun name if you want to really have fun watching a quarterback. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know if it's Holton Ahlers or Holton Ahlers, the quarterback from East Carolina. 6'3", 240, lefty.
Lefty, let's go.
5-year starter.
I love it.
5-year starter, athletic guy. I don't know if he's a project quarterback, if he's a project Taysom Hill, whatever. He's not going to get drafted, but man, I'd love to see them bring him in as a UDA and just see what happens. Because I think he could be a scout team quarterback. He could probably play some tight end. He could probably cover kicks. It would be interesting. This is another guy to know because we've talked so much about DTR. I think DTR is the guy, but if it's not DTR, Holton Ahlers or Ahlers or whatever it is from East Carolina, the Pirates is my guy.
There's a soft spot in my heart for lefty quarterbacks because I myself was a lefty quarterback.
So you knew you were never going to win a Super Bowl.
Exactly. I knew I was never going to win a Super Bowl. I knew that the ball came out of my hands funny. That's probably why I only started a handful of football games in college.
So what did you think of that video of Tua flipped?
Awesome.
So you see him throwing as a righty.
Awesome because lefties look so goofy, but we're not as goofy as you think. It's just opposite. Again, we lefty quarterbacks look silly throwing a football, but at the end it doesn't look silly. It's just flip flop. That's all it is.
But yeah, Holton Ahlers is a tank. All right, I don't know if this is from something, but here's the question. Not to bring up Aaron Rodgers, but do you think he would devour a large Ziploc bag of reheated spaghetti? Is this from something?
I have no idea.
It's been asked 5 times.
Just today or in general?
No, just today in the show. Here's another version of it. Which picks would you be willing the Pats to give up in exchange for Lamar a large Ziploc bag of reheated spaghetti? Reheated spaghetti was my lunch today.
I don't know what that's from. I don't know what that is. But
what was the original one?
We're on our 4th podcast in a row.
We need to get good. It's time we can get good. I think. Well, here's the thing. All right, so we know that obviously there's no light in the darkness retreat, but is there electricity in there? And if so, is there a microwave?
He ate
for Aaron Rodgers. Right, but it has to be reheated according to the question. Now, I do think he would devour a large Ziploc bag of cold spaghetti. Yeah. I would buy that, but that's not the question.
I wonder if the meal's in the darkness retreat. It's just he's in there all alone, and then a window just opens and it's just a bag.
Oh, so they reheated it for him.
Yeah,
and then they gave
that's
him
what I
food.
think.
Okay,
yeah,
excellent. Like Mike said, it's the end of the week. You get
seriously.
and then I see where did that other one go? How does this question get recognized with so many good questions? Because it's 8:00. I saw the word spaghetti. I haven't eaten dinner yet, and it caught my attention. So I guess if you really want us to answer your question, just type in some sort of food in front of it in all caps, and then we'll do your question.
Ask a question that you want answered, but then just add the spaghetti
food
into
word
it
in somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll make that the last call for questions here.
Yeah, I think so. Give us a few more. Pizza.
What else do we got?
Guess what I had for dinner tonight?
Pizza. Oh, no, I know what you had.
What?
Go for it.
No, it's not
HelloFresh.
No, it's not.
I HelloFresh. Okay.
HelloFresh tonight. Shout out HelloFresh though. No, I had breakfast for dinner.
Yep. All right. Oh, I love breakfast for dinner.
Yeah, it was solid.
Here's an actual one. And shout out to Carlos for eating his vegetables.
Mushrooms are gross.
Yeah, not my favorite, but they're healthy. Interior defensive line's an important need that most people aren't discussing. Who would you guys like in the draft? Yeah, I would love to see them add another interior defensive lineman, especially like they have Devon Godshaw, right? They have Carl Davis. Like they're good at nose tackle. I want to see them get another one of these athletic interior pass rushers to play behind Christian Barmore and maybe next to him too, if you want to get really creative. I like the Shrine Bowl guys from this. Dante Stills, Moro Ojimo. Those are the guys I really like at that position. There's one other guy who I've kind of been, I watched a little later, Zach Pickens from South Carolina. I think it's South Carolina. Also,
these questions are so funny. It's just lasagna. Would you rather have Roberts?
But so that's what I like on the interior defensive line. All right, let's take some of these then. What else do we got here?
Here, lasagna. Would you rather have Odell or Hopkins?
I think I'd rather have Odell because, like, there's risk with both.
Yeah.
I don't have to give up draft capital for Odell, and the money's probably going to be about the same. So I'll take Odell just on the value. If we're just talking player, if they both cost the same, I'd rather have Hopkins, but the risk is similar enough that I'd rather not. In the draft ask is going to be significant enough for Hopkins that I'd rather not. I'd rather not give up the draft pick. Mike, you have to answer the question. Come on.
I would rather Hopkins because the injury risk is less. The injury risk is less.
Would you the Chargers? Would you give the Chargers a pan pizza and Pierre Strong for Austin Eckler? Probably not, because I don't want to give Austin Eckler the contract he wants.
Oh man.
But like, I don't know. Can we lower that to a deep dish? And maybe we have a chance. Okay. Here we go. Is Mike Evans still a possibility? Cannoli.
I don't think they're going to go with Evans.
I feel like Mike Evans would have been traded at this point. They needed the cap space by Wednesday in order to get under. Now you're ride with him at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're at there.
This was a better question, but I had to do this one because the other one was just Corey Davis ravioli. Corey Davis might not be a bad option if he's going to leave the Jets. Man, this is good stuff.
I think they could do better at the X. I really think they could do better at the X. Like, he's not bad, I guess, but Devontae Parker's playing over him, right? I'd rather have Devontae Parker than Corey Davis, no?
Yeah.
So, as a secondary X at that point, go to the draft. Go get Bryce Ford Wheaton or Justin Shorter or somebody. All right, good food choice here. Chicken farm. Pats have had success with stretching the field with tight ends. Any tight ends available to do that for us now? I think the hope has to be that Hunter Henry can do that. The reason he wasn't doing that now is there's no threat on the outside. So teams are going single high safety, take away the middle of the field, pack the box. And it's not so much about who's playing that position as much as it is the way the defense is defending them. If they can get a real threat on the outside, that seems going to be much more available for Hunter Henry. It's going to be one-on-one coverage. You're going to get split safeties. You're going to have the top middle of the field open. I don't even know if it's about who's available. And like, there are some tight ends in the draft I think could do it, but I think it's more about the structure of their offense than it is the player or players.
Yeah, I agree. I think as far as tight end goes, you can't go into this with just Henry. You have to add something major here. You have to make a signing you have to you have to make a high draft pick on a Darnell Washington or Michael Mayer. I don't think you can come in with Hunter Henry's your guy and then you back him up with, I mean, who Matt Sokol or whoever else was here last year. And so,
oh no, they need to add another tight end, but I don't know, like, if the goal is like, hey, they should stretch the field more at the tight end position, which they should. It's a good point.
Like I like Gesicki in that role.
But I like Henry in that role. I just think they weren't built to do it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to whoever's working our thing right now. That's excellent.
Bryce Ford Wheaties. Yeah.
Somebody said Bryce Ford Wheat Thins too.
I love it.
Do we expect big players to be moved on draft day like last year? I last year that felt rare.
What was it AJ Brown, right? Last year?
AJ, there were a couple others too, weren't there? I feel like, or maybe not. Maybe it was like a day or two leading up to the draft.
Yeah,
I don't think so. That felt rare, and the way the cap worked last offseason, because he had the lull and then the jump because of the COVID year, I think contributed to that. Like maybe it happens, but I teams are gonna be trading picks like more.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a big year to trade players.
Yeah, I agree. Still think we need more at cornerback. Cheesecake. I do. I still think they need another move at corner, whether it's through the draft. I think those top two picks have to be tackle corner now. Whether it's 14 or 46, you're laughing at something too now again.
But oh no, it's the way you read that was funny. No, the way you read that was funny.
Yeah, I mean Julius Brent's still great. I love the idea of Julius Brents at 46 if it happens because he's long, he's 6'4", can add size to the room, which they desperately need.
Yeah, I still think size at corner. They haven't addressed that. They still need size at corner. They don't need like a top guy at the position, but one of these day two corners that's 6'1" or taller, Darius Rush, Julius Brents, Tyreek Stevenson. Like I still think that's definitely a need.
Yeah. All right. I'm just seeing if there's anything.
Yeah, people are now making fun with the show. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Brian Burns' food. Oh, sorry, sauce cars. No, where'd the other one go? I think I might deleted it.
Got it.
There was one that said
Brian Burns'
Yeah,
food.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one as well.
Oh man. All right. Well,
we got Cam Newton in the chat. What's up, Cam? Mac and cheese
Jones. Yep.
So
this one, I don't know if this was on purpose. It wasn't. It was muffins was on purpose, but with a spoon, right. You eat food with a spoon. I don't know.
Oh, so I think both of these guys are going to be gone. Christian Gonzalez should be the first corner off the board. If he's not, the team has royally screwed up. Devin Witherspoon and Joey Porter Jr. I feel like one of the two goes before 14, maybe not both. I still like a tackle there more, but if it's Witherspoon or Porter, I wouldn't be upset. Look, I'd love for them to get Christian Gonzalez. I think he's the best corner in the draft, but I don't know the last time the best corner in the draft made it to 14. And if they did, it was probably a pretty down year for corners. That corner wasn't as good as Christian Gonzalez. So I see people mentioning him. And, he'd be a great fit for the Patriots. Yes, absolutely he would be. But he's a great fit for a lot of teams.
Right.
And some of those teams have picks higher than the Patriots still.
Yeah, I agree.
All
right. I think that's going to do it for us tonight.
That'll do it. Yeah.
That was fun.
That was a good time.
Muffins.
That was a good way to end the week. That
was good
stuff. Solid way to end the week.
We appreciate you guys tuning in as always here on the Patriots Beat, Patriots Beef, Patriots Bean, Patriots Beat podcast. This was good. A good way to end the week. Clearly, we're overtired. Yeah. We need some rest after this one. If anything else major happens, we'll be back again tomorrow on Patriots Beat. But until then, expect us next week. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to give another shout out to FanDuel before we wrap up. Go to FanDuel.com/Boston for $200 in bonus bets. All you have to do is deposit $10, bet $5, and you get $200 in free bonus bets at FanDuel.com/Boston. It supports us. It supports CLNS. Brand new partnership. It's all good stuff. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Until next time, follow Alex on Twitter, @RealAlexBarth. Read his stuff at 98othersportshub.com. Same can do for me at CLNSmedia.com, and follow me on Twitter at Mike Kadlick, where you'll have all the latest on what's happening with the Patriots. Until next time, thank you guys so much. We always appreciate it, and see you guys.